Point is, we can demonstrate that our computers work. You
Sure.
can do what I do. I have three valve boards sitting on this bench, which are up and running all the time, connected to the net.
Yes, we
So-
call that an existence proof. It's hard to argue.
Yes, yes.
So if there are no more questions at this time, you'll get a count of 10 in a second. Move on.
Could I ask one question, which is, do you power down certain parts? You know, like the brain, it powers up and then
Nope, we don't need to. The reason is that unless one of our circuits is actually doing something, it is only eating energy for the purpose of warming up leakage under transistor gates. And we have a process that we use that's very low in leakage. So basically, one of our computers is either running or it's waiting for something. And the starting to wait and stopping to wait is a one gate delay phenomenon across gates that typically have switching times of 100 picoseconds. And when it's not switching, one of our nodes typically burns about 25 nanoamps.
Okay, so you're avoiding using the energy, you're avoiding using excess energy.
Yeah, because we're not wasting it by running clock distribution lines all over the chip.
And that's good enough. But...
Yeah, well, if we were making our computers at say 28 nanometers, we would have a big problem because that leaks like a sieve. And if we made our computers on FinFETs, they probably wouldn't leak, but we don't have enough $1 million to even run a shuttle run on FinFETs. So well, what we use is 180 nanometers. And if you look it up, you'll notice that the Swatch Group in Switzerland, which is the watchmaking industry mostly in Switzerland, except for a few like Breitling and stuff that are still independent, owns and operates 180 nanometer fab for the same reason that we like 180 nanometers, because they in their watches and also in some of their customers, for example, it used to be Logitech had an awful lot of silicon turned by Swatch Group fab for the same reason. It's a low leakage process, and if you're running off batteries in a wearable device, for example, it's important to use low leakage. But that's the great secret, is that we are ready to start doing something productive at the drop of a hat, but doing anything that consumes energy when we're not doing something productive. So we can speak coherently in terms of energy and joules per unit useful work, because we're not ever doing anything except useful work unless somebody decides to misprogram us. If that makes any sense to you.
So are you going after the low power market and the there's a related market where they get the energy for operating the circuit from the environment? Energy harvesting?
Energy harvesting. Actually, our chips, our GA4s, were used by Mele Marcel in Switzerland, who was doing a major academic work on energy harvesting as kind of his gold standard for a computer that you could run off of what little he was able to harvest. So
that's cool.
We've sort of indirectly participated, but nobody's had the courage to build products and sell them to people out of our chips yet. Maddeningly enough, we haven't been able to do the one thing that I think would work, which is to give somebody an offer he can't refuse by offering to develop his product for him and give him a prototype, while his internal group tried to do the same thing. And he can be testing ours and getting market reaction to it while the other guys are still trying to do it in the first place. That we could probably score a few build-ins. Until then, we haven't. But in terms of applicability to an energy harvesting environment, well, hell yes. One of the students of a guy that we liked at University of California, Berkeley, whose name I can't pronounce her name correctly. I'm just not going to even try. But one of the projects she did was to run one of our J144s off of a potato.
Cool. I love it.
The Lord,
I'm
not
YouTuber?
sure. I'm not. No, it was an actual project. I'm not I'm not sure whether Chuck would at this time say that one of his real goals was low power specifically, but it certainly is a byproduct of the simplicity that he's always been after. You know, if we had a floating point unit sitting there, we would have a shit ton more leakage than we do because we'd have a huge bunch of circuitry that was never being used that would be leaking. The theory, the theory of having all of these
is the work of the devil.
Well, it depends on your goals. When you know, there's a lot of things that, again, generalism is a good thing to have. For example, human audition basically has a local dynamic range of about 42 dB, which is 7 bits, at least a voltage dB. Why do we need 24-bit audio? Because some guy claims that he can hear the difference? No. If you took a 7-bit mantissa and a suitable exponent, you could probably encode undistinguishably different audio. But there's only one way to be sure of that, and it's to actually do it.
1-bit DSD.
Well, the point is, again, unless somebody has changed the number, that the number that I understood in the 70s, and I don't think people have changed very much, was that a human's local dynamic range was 42 dB. Yes, you can hear everything from 130 to maybe 60, but you don't hear them at the same time. If you've got a jet engine roaring there, you're not going to notice all of those little harmonics that distinguish between this kind of violin and that kind of violin. You're not even going to hear the violin at all, to be honest. But
so I've often wanted a cell phone that would just, you know, keep going and going and going. And I look at my my Kindle Paperwhite and I think, well, the number one, you know, consumer is actually the screen. So the first thing I want on my phone is the Paperwhite. But then I thought the next thing I want on the phone is Chuck's processor in lots of different forms, spending no power at all, pretty much, just waiting for things to happen and, you know, and running, you know, efficiently when they do happen. And so if you can make a phone that lasts half a year on a charge, you got it, man.
Well, all those radios take power. That's the problem.
How many radios? There must be 6 or 7 in my phone.
Well, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them, and those protocols. Maybe BLE was designed to be something. I mean, you're still paying for a clock. You've got to, if you're going to play BLE, you still got to have a clock measuring those time intervals and accurately enough so that you get back on the air when you're supposed to.
Well, we need to move
BLE
on.
doesn't work.
So I'd like to
thank you
so much.
It's been fun.
And I'd like how to get started with green arrays, starting from here's where you go to order it, here's what you do next, you know, maybe over the shoulder of typing in the first few commands and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
the ArrayForth,
George,
how to get it up and running. Yep. Thank
George,
you.
our
George is with us.
Visitor
yes.
is back.
Hello.
The cross-time communications link is now operational, so you're on.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you fine. You're going to share your screen?
Thank you. First of all, I'm really sorry for the inconvenience earlier. So yeah, let me share my screen. Screen 2.
We see your ColorScript slide.
Thank you. So yeah, first of all, thank you to SVFIG and to Kevin for allowing me this opportunity. And thank you to Sir Chuck for his wonderful Forth, and to Greg also for the green arrays, and thanks to John Peters also for allowing me to work for his project using my ColorScripts. Yeah, today I'm gonna talk about my my Forth, which is called ColorScript. So I would say where everything is simple from installation to running your code. And so first, let me introduce myself. Oh, sorry. Um, so yeah, just for fun, this is me 19 years ago. So I used to have long hair, but play guitar. But now I don't have long hair, but still play the guitar. And yeah, my name is George Phillip Orais. I'm a Filipino, but was actually born in Germany. But later on, we moved back to Philippines. And about my programming background, so during high school, I first encountered GW Basic. Then college, I took a computer engineering degree where I learned a Turbo C, then the PIC-C and Visual Basic and Java. Then when I got my first job, I was working as a C# developer with SQL. Then later on, work for using Visual C++ 6. Then I had opportunity to work in China for almost 10 years as an embedded software where I used 4-bit assembly for some microchips, MCU, and used most of the time embedded C and Visual C#.NET for production tools. And then later on, I was interested on Lisp machine, so I learned Pico Lisp and Verilog to implement some Lisp machine on the FPGA. Then currently I'm in Japan, working as a senior embedded software for aerospace. So I'm using embedded C and Python for automations. And during COVID, I learned also Lua for some freelancing. And also, yeah, I encountered Forth, which is very interesting. And I also use JavaScript to implement KolorScript. And yeah, just for a quick trivia. So this is the logo of KolorScript. So what does this logo mean? Actually, it means color written in baybayin, and where color means color in Filipino language, and baybayin is an ancient Filipino script. And so what is KolorScript? So what I can say about KolorScript is first, would say it's a modern variant of colorForth because it's implemented as a Visual Studio Code extension, which most programming language have their own extensions, and it uses ASCII text files for storing the source code. And I would say it's also a hybrid Forth because some of the words are coming from colorForth and some words are coming from standard Forth, and some words are made based on the JavaScript. And I would say hybrid because numbers can be written in sign integer, hexadecimal, or float. So they are considered as number. And also strings are enclosed with single or double quote. Then I would say ColorScript is a Forth intended for scripting. That's why the name script, because I think ColorScript will be useful for rapid prototyping and data parsing and code and data generation, and maybe possible test automation. And I could say it's a good alternative for the existing thing like Python, JavaScript, Lua, or Ruby. And so what are the colors in ColorScript? So first is I have green, which is same as, which means compile this word. So how do you make a word green? So so any word that has a prefix of one space, it will be colored green. Because the tag uses the white spaces. And for yellow, I also have yellow means interpret this word as execute. So to make the word yellow, you need to add 2 spaces before the word. Then for gray means comment. So there are 3 types of comment. So Commenting commenting a word, you just add 3 spaces before the word. And then another gray word is have 4 before, so it will comment the whole line starting from that word. It will be useful later. And the third comment is just a traditional fourth comment, which is enclosed in parentheses. So no matter how many prefix space before the word, as long as there's a parenthesis, it will color it gray. Then blue, it means defining a constant. So this is different from ColorScript. So yeah, I use blue to define a constant. So how to make the color blue? So the rule is there should be no prefix space before the word, and it should have one space postfix, meaning the constant should be initialized with green number or green string. And next is magenta, which is defining a variable. So the rule is there should be no space before, but there should be 2 spaces after, meaning the variable should be initialized with a yellow word. Either yellow string, yellow number, or yellow words that leave numbers on the stack, because the variable will be initialized what will be the current contents of the stack. And for red, it means define a function. So this is same as colorForth, but the rule is you need to have no prefix space before, but should have 3 or 4 spaces after the word. It means the red word should have a comment first. So it's you can put the stack effects for the function as a comment. And then so how about for colorblind? So the way it is for green, it's just normal text. For yellow, it becomes bold. Then for comment gray, it will become italics. And for blue, it should have an underline. And one indicator is there's 1 space. Then for magenta, it also underline, but 2 spaces. Then red is also underlined, but 3 spaces. So what are the typing states on ColorScript? So I would say in ColorScript, there are 6 types. So there are number, string, then built-in functions, which are native words. Then there are the 3 user-defined function, user-defined variable, or user-defined constant. And regarding states, there are 4 states. There's interpret, then compile a function, or compile a variable, or a constant. And so what are the pros based on my understanding? So I would say it's very simple and very less code, because the syntax is based on the colors. So there's no like punctuations. And codes is shareable using modern repo like Git, because it uses ASCII text files. And it runs on all major OS with no changes because of Visual Code. So Visual Code is available for Windows, Linux, Mac, and even Raspberry Pi. So you can run the same code without any modification. And then cons, I would say it consumes huge resource because of Visual Code and Visual Studio Code. And I would say it's a slow performance because there are many layer abstraction, because you have the Forth virtual machine and JavaScript virtual machine and you have the OS, and yeah, so it's not near bare metal. So it's slow, but it's bearable. Then also the color is only visible when using Visual Code for now. So if you open the code on a normal notepad, you cannot, can see the colors and just the spaces. So what's currently for ColorScript? So we have version 1.1.13 available in the marketplace, so you can install it if you have Visual Code. And currently, I'm working on a project called Stock Watcher for Jan Peters. So it's still a work in progress. And yeah, improvements is still ongoing. Working on this project. So what's next for ColorScript? I would say I have to complete some documentation just to help the users. And I plan to provide example codes as much as possible. And because for now, ColorScript still has 80 words. So if there's some necessary or requested words, I can add it as a native word. Then I should work on the debugger because as of the moment, I just used the .s showing the stocks content. I should implement the debugger based on Visual Code's extension just to comply with the Visual Code environment. And then standalone virtual machine. Yeah, this is ideal so that we can run ColorScript without Visual Code. So yeah, this is in the future. And syntax highlighting GitHub. From what I learned, it's possible to provide Git repo some your syntax rules so that even if not on the editor, you can still see the colors if you check the code within in the Git repo browser. So why I create ColorScript? So I would say I love colorForth because it makes Forth more easier. Even Forth is already easy, but colorForth makes it more easier. And I want to use colorForth anytime. And also, if I could access colorForth easily, just like Visual Code as an extension. Then I want to run colorForth in all major OS like Windows, Linux, and Mac. And I plan to, I want to introduce color to non-forter, like for programmers from different programming. And I want to share colorForth codes. So I think with ColorScript, it will be easy because it's using ASCII text. And I think that's all for my slide. Then let me proceed with some quick demo. Post my Visual Code because earlier it crashed my laptop. So I just opened Visual Code. And here, first is this Fibonacci. Actually, so this is actually I got it from example from Howard ColorForth. So yeah, this is the Fibonacci. So if I will run it, so yeah, I just pressed F2, and if we check, I'm sorry. So I already pressed F2, which is load. Then if I press F, show what are the words loaded. So we can see here, and here are the the built-in, the native. So there's a way to initiate this. So press F4. It will ask for input. So let's say 8 fib. And it will show 21 here. And so actually we can also create a yellow word. So 16 fib. And if you load this file, it will show 987. So let's just check. So yeah, fib 16 is 987. And so yeah. And next is this. Also, I also got this code, I think from here. So it's just to benchmark the fork, which is actually benchmarking the GA144. So yeah, so if we run this, it says it uses 254 milliseconds to do this ASD function. And next, some basics. So I just prepared some basics. So first, I like the shortest hello word. So it's just a yellow string, then that, and it will say hello world, and create some user defined. So I just prepared this so that it's faster. So there's a blue word constant, which is George, age 44 as a variable, and there's a user defined function intro. So it's just adding. So here I can also show that the name, which is a constant, so it's a yellow, then a green plus. So this yellow to green, this will actually put the string just like colorForth. So there's that yellow to green transition consideration. So here age, it needs the at because it's a variable. So if we run this, so yeah, it will show this. And sorry. And then another demo is about load. We can load files just like in colorForth loading blocks. So instead of block number, you should just put the file name as a string, then load, then yeah, this is coming from the this Fibo. So if we run, so it will show 987. So it shows 987 because it's also calculated here. So maybe put it 20 here. So it will this. Then we can also load using the same word load. We can load some code, actually strings. So here this is a string and I put var1. Then I need to put 2 spaces because this is a variable. So need 2 space, then 7 as the initializer. So if you use load, then this var1 can be used as a variable. So as you can see 7. So even var17 is not in as a magenta here. It's coming from string, but using load, you can use var1 as a normal variable. And then next step is about read file. So I have this data text file here. It's just some numbers. So numbers here. So here it reads the file and calculate the sum. So if I run this, so it shows 150 is the sum of this, which is very easy. So yeah, so there's no loop. It's going back to this function. Then I have some word to convert the string to number. And then next is about, with ColorScript, we don't, we can retrieve some JSON data. So we don't need color. So there's the word HTTP GET. So this is the link. So actually, then if I run it F2, then it shows this. So which is actually here the same. Let me refresh. So this is the link. So it's very easy to get the contents. So just this few words. And then for sending, we also have implemented sending some SMS. So I'm using Twilio, and Twilio has a REST API so that you can send SMS. So let me clear this output first. So let me prepare my phone just to show. So hello, SVFIG from GU. And if I run this one, then we should expect SMS. So yeah, here is the SMS it just received. And this one is actually coming from the Stock Watcher project for John that I mentioned. So yes, last demo will be about Stock Watcher. So I was
I think we
working
need
on
to
with
wrap
John.
up, George. So maybe take a couple of questions and get to stock
Okay.
next month.
This is important right here.
Okay, so
It's
yeah,
important,
I
so
can
try
take
to
some
make it brief.
questions.
If it was important, he should have gone first with it.
He didn't hear that last part because he asked about questions.
So, George, do 2 minutes on
Yes.
Stock Watcher. John says it's really important.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, for the Stock Watcher, we have this. There's 2 ways to show let me use this. So trap, and it will show in the output. So if I run this F2, then it will show. Let me reduce so it will show here. So it's running right now. If you see, the fetch number is incrementing, but currently I think the stock market is closed, so there's no changes here. So so these datas are fetched from Yahoo Finance link that I mentioned showed earlier. And another way to run this also is to use this track to report, which displays this in a text file instead of this output. So let me run. So preparing report, and then it will be here on stock report. That text, sorry.
So George, I want to tell them the headers there. The first stock is APL, and the highest price that has been recorded during this running is listed under highest. Then the gap is the difference between what we paid and what it's showing. The stop is the lower price where you want to sell before you lose too much. And then we have the current price, the price paid, and the price per share. Some of them looking for a plus. Right now, the stock market's been going down. The number of shares in that column is set at 1. You can set it what you want. The tax, it's the profit, but you're going to have to pay tax on it. And the, what is that other one? Oh, the amount invested and then we repeat the ticker again and the gap percent. Maybe you can show us the CSV file, and that'll be that. Stocks CSV.
Sorry, John, did you say something?
Yes, that one. Click on that one. Stocks CSV. Okay, that's where you input various things. You don't have to have that. You don't have to watch that many stocks. If you're just buying one stock, you could have only one stock there. Thank you, George.
Thank you. So yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
What platform are you running on? Is it Green Orais?
Sorry.
What platform are you running on? Computer?
Currently I'm running on an Intel-based laptop, but this when I forward this to John, he was able to make it run on his Mac, both Intel and Apple chip.
I think they're asking, it's running on Visual Source, which is a Microsoft program that runs, and you load it on top of that, right?
Visual Studio.
I think yeah, that's all for my side, and thank you very much for your time.
Okay, that brings us to the end of fourth day. Just wanted to take a moment to find my notes. This is as organized as it gets, sorry. All right, so I'd like to remind you all that we're here every month. December meeting will be on the third Saturday. Most other meetings, except for November or December, are the fourth Saturday of the month for the live Zoom session. If you're elsewhere, consider looking at the YouTube videos. If you want to speak, provide us with a video. We promise to play it. Speakers are welcome, so please volunteer to speak at a future meeting. I got somebody saying, "Oh, I can't provide you with a fourth talk on short notice." Okay, you have a year's notice. Give me a fourth day talk. You have a month's notice. Give me a December talk. Something, please. If you don't want to speak in person, do a video. You can practice and get it right. Some of our folks have that tism. And lastly, send me money. Give me money. We need to pay for MeetUp. In spite of Leon's generosity, MeetUp is an ongoing expense, and I've covered a certain amount of it myself. We can, go back in time as well as forward in time, and devote some of the money to that. And the storage is a giant suck, which hopefully will be ending soon. So, any other comments? We'll have to wait till next month. Thank you so much to the speakers. Thank you all for coming the fourth day.
Far side. Far side. It was the first thing. I missed it. Oh.